When you're talking about the social science, 2 plus 2 maybe 3, maybe 5. Now, to overcome this problem, these variations, it is the quality of research methodology which actually ensures that even in social science, you remain 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 or very close to 4. So what we do, the research method, because there are various errors, unlike the basic research which is done in the laboratory setup, control conditions. In a social science, you do any amount of controlling mechanisms, still the probability of error remains. To overcome those errors, in fact, it is the role of research methodology is enormous. In fact, our job in research methodology is to train the scholar researcher to control all possible error, to reduce the variability between 3 to 5, and to be very close to 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. The errors used to be of different nature. The planning related error, designing related error, sampling related error, tools related error, and of course there are error on behalf of even the researchers. Yes.
Nào, tôi làm ai thuốc này nên tôi cái một cái
Hello.
Please mute your mic. Please mute your mic. Kangaben. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So I hope you all have to understand. We have through methodology, we have to control the error. So our skill of research is actually to controlling the error at all level and maintaining the character, what we call as scientific social science research. So I think it is a different and difficult from basic sciences, because in a basic sciences, actually you do research into a very controlled conditions, and controls are set up as a part of research planning, designing as an organizational setup. But in a social science research, you are in the society, you are among the people. So to have 100%
cái nhóm mình không thì bảy phải dẫn thuốc này vào đi
100% control is not possible. Therefore, the research methodology help you to develop the competencies related to planning, related to designing, related to sampling, related to development of tools, related to ensuring the reliability and validity of the tools, related to the quality of field work, related to the planning of monitoring the field work. And further, in fact, classification of the informations or the data. So, and last is actually, there is a error in a quantitative research, error called a statistics error also. So those are the errors have to be controlled. So what I have been talking from the moment we started interacting with all of you is all skills and competencies, research skills and competencies, geared to control the possible errors. And that is where the relevance of what we call in a social science test of significance is there. Test of significance in a social science, that means when we say 0, 5 significant, 0, 1 significant, what it means? 0, 5 significant means at least in 100, 5 probability of 5 error is acceptable. That is why this, when we talk about test of significance of comparing two groups, because when we do a comparative research comparing groups A with B and establishing A is a good or bad as compared to B and C and all. So we make use of what is called test of significance. Test of significance in a social science is acceptable is only 0.5 level to 0.1 level. Now that means the acceptability of the error is only 5. No, it may not be in a medical science. If you accept in a medical science, that means you are ensuring 5 person's life. So there, the significance goal into 0.00001, 1 in lakhs, 1 into million, and that is how you go into sophistication. The highest degree of sophisticated research, the test significance level has to go 0.0001. That means the 1 error out of million. But in a social science, I think acceptable error is 0.501. What is 0.501 is despite all the best effort in terms of planning, designing, collecting, compiling, analyzing and all, still the possibility remains, and therefore it is a worldwide accepted, and we talk about statistical significance of 0.5 level and 0.1 level. So all that I was talking about social science and basic science is a story of like 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, 2 plus 2 is equal to 3 or maybe 5. And these 3 and 5 have to be brought closer to the 4. And that is where the role of the skill therefore is a very important. 0 to 5 means the variation of 0 to 5 and 0 to 1. Actually, there are people who take precaution and all possible precaution at all level, and they leave the probability of error minimum. And that is why but there are people where the probability of error is more, not only the researchers in terms of planning and everything. And now this was the test of significance, and I think to have a little knowledge about the statistics is a part of the research methodology, particularly in the area of social sciences. So I think with some of these additional feature that I was trying, how it is a different from basic sciences, why it is a different, what is the thrust of it. Now, the last point, I think, before I open it for a discussion is our sensitivity to the social science research. How do we internalize as a value, as a scientific value in our own? Because the environment in which we are at the moment is completely not in favor of what is called a complete internalization of all ethical, technical values. We are always in hurry of completing the document. And we are not being able to create a systematic problem here. So culture, facilities, anything, various issues are there. There are many determining factors for the quality of research that we cannot. Something is under our control, something is beyond us. So we are not addressing the beyond us. We are not addressing the organizational determinants or the planning and policy determinant. Yeah, countries. We are only addressing the issues related to the researchers, the competencies around the researchers where they can exercise their creativity and in fact can try their best to have a quality research. I think this was the additional point I wanted to add. Now, I think I would like to go around question, answer, because in the process, this is a part of the teaching also, as far as my methodology is concerned. So I would say that based on your own experience, where is the problem, what is the problem we're facing, and related to all that, all I've been talking, I think maybe some additional thing will emerge out of discussion. What do you think, ma'am?
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, participants, if you have any questions, you can ask. You can ask.
They will have. If they don't have, then I will come forward. Okay.
Participants, do you have any questions? Participants,
Jayalakshmi.
do you have any question? Please ask.
Yes, madam, I have one question.
Okay, okay. Please ask.
We have a good time.
You can ask.
Are you
Anyone else?
They must be knowing how to do.
Yes, madam, I have one question. That is, I actually want to know the difference between a research question and hypothesis.
Okay, that's good. Should I take up the question and then invite the other questions? Okay. Okay, gentleman.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, one question, sir.
Okay.
What is difference between the null hypothesis and an alternative hypothesis?
Okay.
Yes, please make it. Thank you, sir.
Any other?
Yeah.
Sir, good afternoon. I have one question, sir, regarding to the review of literature.
Oh, very good.
How many books and research papers should be reviewed by the research?
Very interesting questions are coming. Okay. I
Sir?
think I'm just making a list and then I'll go one by one.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Should I just start and then maybe in the next round we can have a question? Okay.
Sir, how to find review of literature, sir?
So how to find review of literature?
Sir, I have one question.
Good. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. What are those construct that guides, so that helps us to decide that which research methodology, I mean, whether it is qualitative or quantitative, will be useful or will be more relevant for my research?
Okay, right. Good. Very good questions are coming. Very good questions are coming.
Sir,
Okay.
sir, on what basis we can construct a hypothesis?
What is a?
What will be the base for construction of hypothesis?
Okay. Hypothesis related matter. Okay. All right. What we can do right now, let me start the answer and then maybe in the second round we can have a question. Okay. Is it acceptable, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the first question is a difference between research question and research hypothesis. This is a question which has been coming in my class, I think, from the last many years. And some of the books also does not make any difference between research questions and hypotheses. Some of the scholars, in fact, they believe that there is no difference between research question and hypothesis. Okay, this is a scenario. Now, I'm giving the elaboration for that. The research question. Hello. A research question is a reflection of your research curiosities. So therefore, you can have, when you do a review of literature, you come across with so many questions. Generally people, they call it research gap also. So research gap means you try to fulfill those gaps. This is where the relevance of review of literature comes. When we ask the question of why do we do review of literature, the appropriate answer is to find out the gaps. Okay? Now, but whereas the research questions are concerned, now related to gap, you may have a different curiosities. You may have a different questions. But all curiosities cannot be fulfilled in one project, one research at one point of time. Let me put this in a different way. You know, for many things, there is a degree called MD in medicine, MD in ENT. Now, these are degrees. But if you have to become a specialist, how do you become? As a specialist in a particular area of your concern. You become a specialist after doing a lot of research work, lot of publication, lot of exposure, and you develop your own expertise in particular area, which has nothing to do with what is called a degree. Now this expertise, your expertise has come out of addressing so many curiosities in a particular area, a particular research over a period of time. So this research curiosity is not a research hypothesis. You can have many research questions, but what you do when you conclude your review of literature, when you go in the last portion of your review of literature, and when you try to summarize the review of literature, what do you say? You say that through the pages of 50 pages of review of literature, the salient emerging points are this. And the research gaps are as following. There are many questions which has emerged from the review of literature. The many curiosities that you have developed out of having a comprehensive review of literature. Those are your research, and that is why I told you in the beginning, in the formative stage, one of the exercise before you finalize the research objective, prepare the list of questions. When you write in an introspective form, it is your research questions. Suppose out of 10 research questions, you have prioritized 3. That 3 is a first priority at this juncture within a particular time that I have been given. Now, these 3 objectives that you have written in question forms, you just change the format of writing of introspective method into formative stage. You can then convert it into all, what, when, where, how, all that is the part of the starting part of the research question. You just convert it in the form of to explore, to identify, to study, to examine, to find out. This is all action work. What you did after out of 10 research questions, when you prioritize that 3 is a very important within given time, that doesn't mean that you have overlooked. You simply said that in this time I am completing this, and it will continue. Research is not one day phenomena. Expertise, developing expertise in research is not one day issue. It is a continuous, and that is how then you become a senior professional and academician. What you call is academician. So that doesn't mean that your curiosities have been killed. They are sustaining, they are remaining. But in this particular project, you are addressing only 3 research questions out of 10 that you have identified in a particular area of research that you have initiated. So what you have done, you have only changed the format of what, when, how, where, whether into action verb, to examine, to study, to explore, to ascertain. You got it? So this is where the research questions. Now, hypothesis has to be formulated around the selected and specified 3 objectives that you have initiated. It is not related to all the 10 research questions that you have been, you carried, for example, in the last as a summary of review of literature. Now, this hypothesis is related to 3 research questions that you have taken in the form of research objective. Now, here you can have a 3 hypotheses, you can have only 1 hypothesis. That depends upon the nature of the research objective that you are carrying. It is not scientifically desirable that you have as many hypotheses, as many questions. This is somewhere in some organization, somebody asked me that we must have as many hypotheses, as many questions. This is a wrong notion. This is not based on any science. This is only a transfer of guides knowledge, which is not based on a subject knowledge, which is based on their own personal experience to the next student. And that is why they say as many objective, as many hypotheses. So the hypothesis is totally different from your research question, and hypothesis is around the research question that you have picked up for a particular project, particular objective. Whereas the research question is your curiosities emerging out of a very comprehensive review of literature, or even without literature also. I think regarding the COVID-19, there are 100 questions people are having, but all questions cannot be answered in one project. So you got the difference between research question and hypothesis. Okay. Can I take now here a person who has talked about the null hypothesis? And you see, when you are what is hypothesis? Hypothesis refers simply a relationship between the variables, 2 or many. Hypothesis simply refers a relationship between the variables. Okay. Now, you may be addressing 1 variable, you may be addressing more than 1. So the relationship between 2 and more than 2 variables, that is what we call hypothesis. This is what people talk about: inferences, assumption, and various terminologies, crude terminologies, which has been using, which are used, and I think in many other disciplines, it is still, and it is okay, there's no problem. So now hypothesis, you see, is an advanced stage of preciseness. Now, when you, either you can have a directional hypothesis or you can have a null hypothesis. Directional hypothesis में researcher narrates that such and such is related to such and such thing. Such and such is related to, there is a linear relation between A and B. You can just say that if this increases, this also increases. Or the reverse way. This is a negatively related. More the unemployment, more the violence. Longer the lockdown time, higher the mental health problem. So here direction is clear, either positive or negative. That is why we call it directional hypothesis. All right, I mean, just talking a very, and then sometime you are not sure about anything. This and this may be related. This may, I don't know. I mean, my whole research is geared to find out the relationship to which I am not aware. Right now, regarding your COVID, there are various things are being debated, and about the relationship, people are still not clear. Now, when you are not clear, the null hypothesis is a very statistical concept, as it is actually a great invention to the social science research. It talks about that when you are not clear, when you cannot justify the directional hypothesis based on any theory, based on any logic, based on any evidence, if you are failing to that, and if you are not aware about the relationship, it is better to go for null hypothesis. A null hypothesis, in a simple word, is always written in a negative form, which subsequently you have to prove whether you are right, either it has to be accepted or it has to be rejected. So null hypothesis, normally you say, how do you spell out this and this may not be related. Now here you are not talking positively related, negatively related. You are not talking, it is a linear relationship. You say you are just exploring. You are exploring the relationship and you are not able to formulate any directional hypothesis. You are not able to give any substantial logical evidence to substantiate your hypothesis, or even any theoretical backing to your hypothesis, then you go for null hypothesis and you simply say this and this may be related. The economic, the expenditure and lockdown in a particular class may be related. Now, when you formulate a null hypothesis, you will say may not be related. The time of lockdown and nature of expenditure may not be related. Now, this is a null hypothesis. Okay, because null hypothesis is written in a null form. Subsequently, you have to prove whether your hypothesis is accepted or rejected. So I hope you understand about the hypothesis. You understand about the difference between research questions and hypothesis. I will take the third question. Somebody talk about the review of literature. The review of literature. What is a review of literature? What is the sole purpose of review of literature? A review of literature is basically to acquaint yourself or to make yourself knowledgeable where we stand in terms of scientific knowledge. Where we stand. Where we stand means the current situation. The current situation where we stand in terms of knowledge. Where our knowledge is right now. For example, is a live example about your the COVID-19 is a live example. I think even the best known scientists, they are not able to explicitly explain all various issues related to it. Is how it is affecting somewhere more, somewhere less, how it is related to age, how is it related to your immunity, all that we are being talked here. The empirically, I think, is not very well established, and that means unless it comes into a journal of international repute, medical journal of international repute, it will not be accepted. So the review of literature, there you may pick up the area where there has been no research. So sometimes you get frustrated, I'm not getting any literature on this, I'm not getting any literature and many times people, you see, if it is a novel area, if there has not been any a write-up, extensive write-up, then I think the only source left to you is right now, nowadays, the internet, because the internet is having all kind of literature, published, unpublished, proved, unproved, right, wrong, all kind of thing. And it is up to you to get your knowledge and logically reconstruct your knowledge and reach to your own conclusion itself. This is one purpose, to know where we stand in terms of knowledge. So in technology, so in medical sciences, so in social sciences. Social sciences, for example, I'll give you the classical example. Like, for example, demonetization had happened. Now we have a lot of economic report available, but there are so many behavioral changes which has occurred after that. I think how much literature is available, we do not know. We do not know about anything. Similarly, every time so many crises, political crisis is going on, so many crises, so many elections, so many all those things. Why the poverty? We are, despite our million and trillion expenditure over the year, the poverty level we have not been able. So there are many things. Okay, I think I'm just giving you some example. So new area, if you have picked up for your research, you may not get a very comprehensive literature available. So review of literature help you to know how much knowledge has been generated. Then you, as a researcher, decide what you have to contribute. And that is how you develop your proposal in terms of specific rationale, specific objective and all. So review of literature, in fact, start from beginning. That means pre-research to the post-research. Starting before finalizing your synopsis or proposal, you have to do a review of literature. That means and it helps you to clarify your thinking. It helps you to clarify your concept. It helps you to overcome your confusion. So it makes you more and more specific about the concept. So this is a major role of review of literature. So one is to find the gap which is available. The second is where we stand in terms of generating the knowledge. The third is what I can, as an individual researcher, can contribute. So the review of literature is a very, very vital concept, not as a chapter I'm talking as a concept. Now, as a chapter, you can place as a third chapter, or you can combine into, it remains a part of even introductory chapter. There are many organizations where review of literature is not a separate chapter. It is a part of the introductory chapter itself. Okay, there are many technical institutes. So I hope you understand the value of review of literature. It's help you to make a very beautiful journey from confusion to the clarity. and makes your stand very clear, and you can take up the very specific objective which fulfill the gap and which is the real contribution. It is not a validative research. So this is how the review of, and from where to pick up, I think there are enormous sources of picking up the review of literature, primary sources, secondary sources, all sources. I think you are in era where all resources are on your tips, unlike our time, where there was not even facility of getting a photo state. If you commit one error in typing, you have to retype the whole page. But fortunately, during those days, I think we had relatively a much better quality. In fact, prior to my generation, if I go and analyze, I think we find a very few people who had a PhD degree and were internationally known figure, expertise and all. And those were the generation before my generation. Okay. So the review of literature, I think somebody has asked, what is the role of a research guide in reconstructing the concept? I think if I could understand, he was talking about the relationship between the researcher and the guide. Okay, gentlemen, I think I'll give you one live example of somebody. I think if you try to analyze that example, you will get the answer of this question. It is a case of a researcher who started, who was identified, whose supervisor was identified, and up to 6 months, only one communication was going on. Whenever a scholar used to enter in the chamber of the supervisor, wanted to say anything, the supervisor used to say, go and read. Second time when he came, go and read. In this process, I think about 6 months has gone. After 6 months, the scholar was also highly frustrated. When he said, you go and lie, the scholar said, no, I will not, I will have a discussion. And then the supervisor welcomed him very warmly because he was waiting for that moment when researcher comes out with certain curiosities, certain questions, certain discussions, certain clarifications. And for that he has been, it was not his intention was indirectly putting the scholar into situation of studying more and more and more, becoming more and more clear, and then reaching to the point of starting argument with the supervisor. I think this case which I am narrating explains everything. Huh? Okay, so if some supervisor, let me just.
Please, Kangaben, please mute your mic.
Okay, so if you analyze critically the case that I have put up, you get the real picture of between the supervisor and the scholars that you get. But I must add few more points. I think not in many cases. In some cases, some supervisor want continuation of his curiosities through the scholars. Either it is a welcome by the scholar or not is a different. I mean, ethically it is a not desirable, but it happens, which should not happen. Okay. Sometimes even students simply surrender and he says, sir, please tell me what I have to do. He doesn't reach to the point of criticality and doesn't reach to the point of, in fact, raising the curiosities and questions. He simply wants subordination. Tell me what I have to do. So I think both the situations are not desirable and professionally neither ethical nor desirable. The professionally, what is desirable is the story I have told you. It may be 5 months, it may be 1 month, it may be 1 week, depending on how does it go. So I think all the questions that so far has been raised, I have answered all the 5 questions. So if there are some more questions, I would go further.
Any questions?
Madam, I have another question, Madam. That is, can the multiple regression technique be used for panel data?
Can a multiple
regression technique
be
for
it-
formulating for actually function and be used in case of panel data, sir?
Yeah, I think when you have a dependent variable and independent variable, and when you want to know the value of dependent variable, you can use it. The outline principle of multiple regression.
Yes, sir.
Regression technique. I don't want to, cover in this issue. This is
Okay.
simply to get the loading of each variable. And which variable is more capable of predicting all that. So if that is, if your research design has been formulated in this manner, you can very easily use it.
Please.
Okay. So as far as desirability is concerned, you can do it. But further detailed,
Please mute your mic.
which I think goes beyond the scope of the present topic, but you can use it because the whole principle of regression technique is to get the loading of different variables independent, whatever it is. Okay. So let us go to the another questions.
Anyone else?
I think they have asked all wonderful questions.
Sir, can sample size be designed in case of infinite or unknown population, sir?
I think this is a question I think you have to put before the expert who is in statistics. Okay. I think this is a question I would not like to deliberate on this moment. Okay, but this is a very technical and very good questions.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, because right now I'm focused right now is on certain essential things of all essential character of social science research right now. You have gone, in fact, modeling and various very advanced. I'm very happy, but I think for that you have to talk the expertise in the area of this area available to you, because it requires very different discussion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
But I think continue this is your curiosities, correct? These are your curiosities, and these curiosities are not your hypothesis, correct? Somebody has asked this question. So these are your curiosities.
Yes, sir.
These are your curiosities, and these are not your hypothesis, correct? So, any other
Sir,
dimensions?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, sir, my doubt, my one question is on what are the steps
do we follow in writing research proposal in social science? So my discipline is economics. So
Okay, okay, I'll write no point.
in
Your
brief,
steps
yes,
in
yes,
developing
steps.
research proposal. Okay.
Yes, yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Any other question? Because I can take up 2 questions before we. Yeah, you're talking. Okay. Your steps start the whole research begin with the curiosities of solving some problem. So the first step is actually your identification of particular area in which you are interested. Okay. Now you try to know more and more about that. The problem that you are having, you try to more and more about. So that means this is called introductory step or formative, the beginning of the formative steps. Okay. The second step, now related to that, once you have identified the area, you have started reading the literature, trying to comprehend the whole literature available to you. So the second step is actually the review of literature. Now you have gone the introductory means you have introduced the concept, you have elaborated the concept, you have described the concept, the genesis, or it may be your own concept or anything. So you first you talk about the concept, like somebody coming to your college or home, and somebody is sitting. So what you do? So he or she is so and so, she comes from here, she has done, she has this background, all that you are simply introduced. So the first step is the detailed description of the concept, which is a part of your introduction. So introductory chapter. The second chapter, which I have already mentioned somewhere, it is a part of the first chapter itself, is the review of literature. That means enhancing your knowledge and trying to be up to date about the knowledge in particular area. Then in the same, you have tried to find out the gap. Suppose you are a scholar of economics, you have find out the areas, you have done your review of literature. So you found the research gap, what you call a research question, you certain curiosities you want to study. So from there, as a part of the review of literature, you have worked out what is called the setting the objective and developing your particular hypothesis. Now this is a second step. Now third step is, once you have set your objective, that means the next step is how to meet the objective. So you are entering into methodology. If it is a quantitative research, say for example, you are doing economic survey of a particular area during this period, okay? Or you are doing some survey about the consumption pattern in this area during this period, and you are trying to compare what was the consumption pattern even before the lockdown period. So you are entering into the methodology. Methodology refers to the total framework which you are going to use for generating the information. So what you have done, next step is a methodology. If it is a quantitative research, you have gone into the population. So once you have gone into the population, you have further enter into sample. Is a male, female, younger, older, poor, rich, this caste, that caste, whatever. The next is actually the step called data collection. So once you are able to decide this is my sample and this is my area, the next step is data collections. Now under the data collection, your first step is the research tool. The tool. the questionnaire, the interview schedule, or any other method that you are going, structured, unstructured. I'm not going to elaborate here right now because there's no time. The structure, unstructured, but you have to take a decision what kind of tools you are going to. So once under the main heading called step called data collection, you have selected field, you have selected population, you have selected tools, and you have spent time to collect the data. Now this step is over. And now next you have entered into a data processing or data analysis. Data processing or data analysis. Processing is more specific because you, when you have a data, you screen the data. Maybe some data sometimes you reject and because it's not complete or incomplete or because of some other reason, whatever reason. So and then you go and make use of particular statistical tools. You analyze the data, you tabulate the data, and you prepared your table, and then you go into the next step called resultant discussion. Now somewhere data analysis and resultant discussion, they combine. But stepwise, you can have analysis only after completing the data. So the data collections, data analysis, and after data analysis, you have gone into the resultant discussion. And after resultant discussion, you have gone into the application part of the research that I was talking. Okay. This is the step as far as the technical part is completed. If you are writing a proposal, if you are writing any proposal, then there are two more steps that you have to carry forward. The one step is you have to work out the work plan on the timeline. Now, which work has to be done, when, and for how long time. So now this is a, and the second is the money part, that is the how much money is required. Money and manpower. So I think these are the steps, but last two steps are part of developing research proposal. Okay, as far as the research technical part is concerned, is only up to application of the research or finding, suggestions, further action, pathways, whatever different terminologies are there, whatever it's there, you can see. So these are the steps. Either you come from economics, political science, social science, any discipline, management, any discipline, because social science is the mother science of all that. So steps remain same. You cannot have a reverse step. It is a sequential step, and therefore all steps are dependent on one major independent step, that is called decision about the objective of research. So the independent concepts remain confined up to what is called setting the objective. Rest all become what has to be designed, what has to be tool, all have to be decided keeping the nature of the objective into account. I hope, I think it has made you clear to understand the steps required, either you are from economics or. Now, I suppose somebody is from scholar, literature. Now, even your literature, the sequence remains same. But when you go, sequence in terms of introductory part, review part, method, when you come to the methodology, then you go on different path. Methodology also, how you are going, you have to plan how and from where the data has to be collected, compiled. So steps remain same. There you do a even for quantitative data, somebody goes for content analysis and all. So steps remain same, either basic research or social science or psychology, economics, political science, literature, anything. Steps remain same. Maybe in a different subject somewhere, the headings are somewhere different. Okay. Any more questions?
Any questions?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Sir, my question is, how is implement the t-test or chi-square test in the research, sir?
Now you have come to the analysis. Okay. The t-test, so simple is only, t-test help you only, suppose only two group. Only two group. If you have many group, then the t-test, because t-test can be conducted between two groups, A and B. But sometime you have 3, 4, 5 groups and you want to chi-square. Then in that case, you will not be able to use the t-test. You can get a chi-square in more than 2 tests, even in two group or even more than 2 group. Okay. Both, the only difference is,
thank you, madam.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, please, can you repeat?
No, sir, it's not the question.
Okay. Okay. It's not the question. So I think
Any questions?
I hope what I'm trying to deliberate is going to have some use to all of you. Just I think, okay.
Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
So really, it's a very wonderful and very comprehensive type of a lecture. And you have explained so nicely about the different steps, how to go with the research, that the classification you have explained it, about the formative style, about the operational style, about the application style, and also you have focused on the dimensions of research. So really it is one wonderful lecture, sir. Those who are pursuing PhD, definitely it will help them. So once again, on behalf of UGC HRDC, I thank you, sir, for delivering such a beautiful and such a wonderful, informative lecture to all our participants.
I
Thank
can
you.
see, I mean, Fazal Saab is sitting over there. No.
Assalamualaikum.
Hi, Janab.
How are you, sir?
Oh, after a long time, I'm seeing you.
Yeah, we are meeting after a very long time.
Oh my God.
I was there in your lecture. I didn't disturb you.
Oh, you see, is it? I hope I have tried to speak some sense.
No, you are one of the star performers, sir.
No, I think I'm saying, I mean, after a long time, I think I'll be talking on telephone to you. Huh?
Yeah, we'll meet you soon in Delhi. I'll be.
When we are planning to come in Delhi?
Actually, the situation improves. I ought to come. I need to come.
Okay.
Yeah.
It will be wonderful, I think, if you keep some time for me also.
We'll definitely meet, sir. Sure.
We can have a lunch, we can have dinner, you can have anything.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, great.
Otherwise, I hope you're doing well.
Fine, I'm here settled in Greater Noida.
Okay.
Just adjoining to Delhi. Okay. And right now, some international studies going on. Right now.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Excuse me, Fazal sir. Excuse me, Fazal sir.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, if the resource person is having the PPT, kindly do share with us.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I don't have a PPT right now.
That's okay.
You might have seen, I think I'm just finalizing the whole book right now.
Because the lecture was very detailed and very, enriching. And it was difficult for us to listen and to write down the things. So we thought that if you can please share the PPT, it will be more enriching for us.
No, I think I'll be sharing only the book after some time. I know
That will be fine. Either the references, that will be fine.
I have already, completed major portion of writing of this book on these dimensions. On this dimension. The rest of the dimensions are available in the books. I'm not talking. So right now I'll give you a reference of the book which I have written on methodology earlier also. So I'll
Yes, that will be
reference and that reference can be given to you.
Yeah. Even Dr. Ishtiaq is also in program, sir.
No, I'll just give you the reference right now. Just oh, this is hello.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir. This is a book which has already come. The second book will come further.
Can you just take it up a little bit? Yes. Yes, sir. It's fine. Research skill development in social science communication
and management.
Okay.
Okay. All that I have been talking, some of the concept is not discussed here. Many concepts are discussed, but some of the new concepts will be part of the second book. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I think my affiliation with the department will continue.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Definitely. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So participants, tomorrow again 9:45 will be meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Sir, one request, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fazal sir and Tehseen Bilgrami madam, for this wonderful session. And this inaugural session has really set the tone for the whole workshop.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Today's session is very good, sir. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
From tomorrow onwards, you will have some assignments also.
Thank you, sir. Today's session is very good.
Oh, good. Jagdev Appa, I have a request for you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. कुठं कुठलं गणपती मंदिर
Yes. Now you can log out.
Okay.